Data protection and privacy teams are under more pressure than ever with new laws, AI oversight, data breaches, and the constant expectation to do more with fewer resources.
That's why TrustArc built a modern privacy and data protection management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. It unifies your tools, automates the work that slows you down, and surfaces what matters most right when you need it.
From guided quick actions to our intelligent assistant, Ask Arc, you get credible, contextual answers backed by expert research, not generic AI guesses.
Finally, privacy that works the way privacy pros work.
Learn how TrustArc helps teams move faster with confidence at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.
You're listening to Serious Privacy, powered by TrustArc. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kay Royal and Paul Breitbart.
With the year coming to a close, we did not expect to do another Week in Privacy episode this year. But hey, here we are. And apparently, once again, it's the week of big tech and big tech enforcement. So yes, once again, today we'll talk about TikTok, we'll talk about Facebook, and all your other usual suspects, but we're adding a new one into the mix, Netflix. Stay tuned. My name is Paul Breitbart.
And I'm Kay Royal, and welcome to Serious Privacy. So we hope y'all have been enjoying. We hope y'all enjoying. That would be a totally different thing from enjoying, wouldn't it? We hope y'all have been enjoying the recent episodes. We sure have fun pushing them out for you. We had a couple others that we were supposed to have scheduled this year. They got delayed till after the first of the year, but they're going to be really fun as well. Finally got Darren Abernathy to agree to come in and do an updated cookies for us. So we're going to get him scheduled. We've got Joe Jones of IAPP is going to come on, talk about the infographic. We got lots of fabulous things lined up for you.
But that's all for post-Data Protection Day.
Post-Data Protection Day, exactly. Things don't come in.
As always, January will take a bit of a break. And then on January 28th, we'll be back with Season 6. And indeed, the guests that Kate just mentioned will all come on in Season 6.
Yes. It's going to be
Season 6, that sounds really weird.
It really does. It's like Season 6 is like, is that like years in marriage? That if you can survive 7 years, you'll make it forever? Which I don't believe.
I think 7 is the typical threshold, yes.
Is that like 7 years in marriage, which they say if you can survive 7 years, you can survive just about anything? We've been together, 6 years now.
Well, 5. We're getting to 6. 2 more years, Kate.
I was feeling really positive about this. So here's your unexpected question, either or. Do you want to stay in a relationship with me, or do you want to argue about how many years we've been together?
Oh, I love to argue with you.
No, let's do a real either or. For a tropical vacation, Bora Bora or Jamaica?
Then I probably would go for Jamaica because somehow Bora Bora doesn't really attract me. And at least for Jamaica, I know that there is some nice culture, some good food, some good spices. So that Jamaica is somewhere on the travel list. But I think you know me by now, tropical vacation is not really my type of vacation.
Not really his type of vacation either, right? Next, he's going to ask me the cold ones, and I'm going to be like, there's Northern Lights. I'm going to have to go somewhere where I can see the Northern Lights. But there are also Southern Lights, and I want to go around.
They're equally cold.
Yes, I want to go around the tip of Antarctica to the huge deep or whatever they call it, where the waves are 40 foot high, and I'd stay in my room, puke my brains out. So I don't know why I want to do that. But I'm going to go Bora Bora because I've been to Jamaica, but Jamaica would have been my first choice if I hadn't have been there already because of the movie Cool Run. That is my favorite movie of all time. If you ever hear me say, "You dead yet?" comes from that movie. And I cry when the movie starts because I know how it's going to end, and I'm already just gushing fireworks here. But Bora Bora has always been really cool since I've seen it in the James Bond movies and the Vin Diesel movies and everything. And it just, cool, right? Cabins out over the water.
I wouldn't even know how to get there.
I hear there's a cruise ship offering a 4-year cruise. You go to 147 countries and you can be on there for 4 years. It averages.
Yeah, that sounds like hell.
Sounds like 175 days a year, and they give you internet so you can keep working.
Yeah, no, that really sounds like hell.
But it's 4 years. I'm like, what about my house that isn't fixed yet? My dogs who are absolutely horrible, and my cats who are a pain in the butt, and the grandkids who are
tiresome. So it's a solution for everything.
It's a solution for everything.
But the one thing you would probably not have on board a cruise ship is Netflix.
That is true. Although I think you can program, as long as you have the internet, you can program your own Netflix onto the onboard thing or whatever. But, I got tired on a 15-day cruise. I was sick of it after like 11. So not sure a 4-year cruise would be a thing. I guess that's getting used to like living on a yacht, like having a houseboat or something, right?
Yeah, but typically if you live on a yacht, it's your own. And you don't have to deal with other people who are
and I don't see where that's
annoying.
going to be a case. I did look at the theme cruises, the rock cruises and the blues cruises and the jazz cruises. And if there was a Comic-Con cruise, I might be tempted to go.
I'm sure there is one.
You have to deal with all kinds of weird personalities on these cruises. I mean, I learned what furries were on a cruise.
You didn't know?
I thought it was someone just dressed up like Comic-Con, and I went up to get a picture of him. My husband's just shaking his head at me going, do you know what that is? I'm like, yeah, it's a person dressed up as a kid. And everybody around me was like,
it's also a person dressed up as a cat.
Okay, there we go.
For those of you who are not familiar, just Google it, but make sure you're not in the office.
Or don't. This is kind of like what I posted on LinkedIn this week and other social media about the email that I woke up to on, I guess it was Monday morning. It was an attachment. I don't open the attachment. I don't click on links, don't recognize the person, but it was my phone number and it was a former real address I lived at, the one just before here in Arizona. And the person literally just threatened me across the board. I've seen the naughty videos you've been watching. I've watched the pornographic content you've been creating in your bedroom. By the way, nice setup. Which PSA, I'm preaching to the choir here, people. Y'all know not to click on links and not to click on attachments from things you don't know. This one, my husband said he received a similar one 4 years ago. He basically just ignored it. Here's the thing. It could be real. It could be a real threat. The person really could be threatening you. It could just be just malware that they're trying to get you to open the letter with the threats that are in it. But it could actually be a real threat. They wouldn't need me actually doing pornography. They just need my face.
Which is all over the internet.
Right, which is everywhere. On someone's body and say, this is cat. And at least, half the people out there would believe it because y'all know my voice, not my face, right? Because Paul doesn't like recording video. But it was interesting that one of my friends, and she's a friend in real life, we went to law school together. She's on LinkedIn. She said, Kay, anyone who has played Cards Against Humanity with you would know that this threat is not real. I swear to God that when I played with them, some of the things that they said, I actually had to go look up on one of these search engines that tells you what the naughty terms are. I turned beet
Urban
red.
Dictionary, where you would also find the definition of furries.
Yes. And this one had something to do with dwarves and snow blowing or something. And that's as far as I can go. They, honest to God, did not choose their answers to my cards when I had the black card and they turned in the white or whatever it was, opposite one. They, honest to God, turned in their answers not based on what it would do to the question, but based on whether it had words in it that they would take bets on whether I would say them out loud or would I literally turn beet red and not be able to talk.
And that's probably what happened.
That is what happened. Tim actually had to read one of them for me because it had a couple of words in it I couldn't say out loud. But on the other hand,
you are very American, Kay.
I'm very Southern. Let's put it that way. But there was one on here, and I don't mean to offend anyone in here. If you know about Cards Against Humanity, guard yourself against offense right now. There was one in there that was, is it blank or is it Maybelline? And that is an old commercial of, is it that or is it Maybelline? Well, I was a cancer research nurse. and an oncology nurse, a hospice nurse. So and you only have certain answers to turn in because you've only got certain cards. It's not like you can choose what cards you have. I had a card that was, is it cancer or is it Maybelline? And that's the one I played. And that's the one the person chose. And when they're like, all right, whose is this? And I raised my hand. I'm like, it's me. They're like, no, seriously, who played this card? They're like,
Yep.
Kay. They're like, Kay, I did not know you had it in you. I have a horrible sense of humor, not a naughty one necessarily, but a horrible one, because I was a nurse of a nurse of a nurse, and the men in my family were truck drivers and military. There is no telling what goes through this head out here that never comes out this mouth. But sometimes in Cards Against Humanity, I get to win the point. Sometimes I usually lose because
it's for a reason that it's called a horrible game for horrible people, right?
It is a horrible game, and I
it.
usually go for more of the sarcastic answers. It takes you a minute to click what that was, and people that know to play with me know to play those kinds of answers if they actually want to win the point. But yeah, my mother played and won. Does that tell you anything about what I came from?
A little.
On the first time she ever played, she doesn't know Harry Potter. It was Harry Potter Against Humanity, and she won by a large margin.
Good for her. So how does this relate again to the email that you received? Because we're a bit off track.
To do the email, Paul's bringing a theme here. So these are common things. And as we're entering the holiday season, and this should come out pretty quickly, just know these are getting more and more common. And some of them are getting more and more sophisticated. Others are relying on the tried and true simplistic methods. Click an unknown link, get malware downloaded to your computer. So if you have the ability like me to take a picture of it to see it in the preview and you really feel it's a threat, you really should notify police. Now, pessimistically, the police may not pay much attention to women coming to them with a threat of someone doing revenge pornography. That is one of the problems with non-consensual pornography. But some of these other threats of sending all this stuff to all the contacts in my contact list and whatever, people, y'all need to take these things seriously. And by seriously, I mean, don't click on them.
Or at the very least, first right-click on them to reveal the actual link before opening the link.
Who the email is actually from. If it's on your work computer or your work phone, please do send it to your work information security desk. They will confirm it is a spam and you shouldn't click on it. But the better thing is they might actually send an alert out to the rest of the company to know as well. And when people are busy and it's coming to the end of the year and all we want to do is plow through those thousands of emails that are unread and just get it done, sometimes we're not thinking about what we're clicking on and what we're seeing. So maintain that high degree of suspiciousness. Pay attention to what you're doing. Male, female, non-binary. I don't care what gender you are or are not. Pay attention.
Yes.
Because what they're looking for is the information that you have access to.
Absolutely true.
All right. What have we got in the news? Not very many really, really cool things.
Well,
but if you updated technology.
We do have a few cool big tech things. First of all, the follow-up. Well, we have a follow-up in the TikTok saga because just today, December 18, the U.S. Supreme Court has announced that they hear the challenge to banning TikTok in the U.S. So that's, I guess, a small win for TikTok.
And it won't be till next year until Trump's in office, which is what
they will actually take it up quickly.
Hoping for in order to have a warfare ruling.
Yeah, they will actually do it quickly. So they will review in January to see whether the law that Congress has passed that aims to get ByteDance to divest of TikTok, that will be heard. There is a hearing scheduled already on January 10, so that a ruling could come quickly, so that there is a decision before the January 19 deadline that Congress has imposed. So we'll see.
By the way, by show of hands, who thinks it's going to be completely legal that Congress could tell them to divest themselves of TikTok?
Well, if the U.S. Supreme Court confirms that they can, then apparently it's legal.
Who really thinks they're going to go that direction?
I'm not completely sure. I have a hard time reading this Supreme Court so far, but I do think that the freedom of speech argument, if it applies to companies, which the Supreme Court has said in the past that it does, that it would probably also apply to foreign companies. And if not, then the equal protection clause might be a bit at risk here. So I'm not completely sure what will happen, but we'll hear early in January, and we'll make sure that when we get back in January that
we'll let you know.
We will actually give you the next update.
When it comes out, we'll let you know anyway on LinkedIn through posts or whatever. So we'll do that. One of the other things that I'm trying to do, which may or may not happen, is take some of the episodes, not the Weeks in Privacy, but the episodes that we do on certain topics, see if I can turn them into little handbooks. Because we've done topics on vendor management, child privacy, health privacy, different things like that. I'm going to see if we can take our actual podcast and turn them into little handbooks for those too. We have a few little projects to work on there. A book that I am co-author on actually is being published now. The review has finished and it has been set for publication. I don't know what date it's coming out yet, but it will. I'm co-authoring a privacy case book. The wonderful young privacy attorney that is a professor now that we've had on the show, Wayne Unger. And Michelle Benedy has actually contributed to the book as well. So she is a contributor. So I think this is really cool. I don't know that it will help catapult me into the academic environment at all.
You never know.
But I think it's really cool. I think it's really, really cool.
Absolutely.
What else do we have than TikTok? We have a few other things.
We have Netflix. We have Netflix. And this is the first time that Netflix has really been showing up in the scrutiny of data protection authorities. As you may or may not know, Netflix has their European headquarters in Amsterdam. So it's the Dutch Data Protection Authority that is responsible. And they have received a complaint from NOIB, from None of Your Business, already quite some time ago. Complaints submitted to the Austrian DPA, forwarded to the Netherlands about Netflix transparency compliance. And indeed, the Dutch DPA concluded that between 2018 and 2020, the information that Netflix has provided was not sufficiently clear when it came to the processing of personal data. Netflix collects, of course, a lot of personal data ranging from email addresses and phone numbers and payment details, but also everything that you watch and like and put on your watch list.
AI on what you also might like and different things like that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So especially for a company like that, the Dutch DPA said, with a turnover of billions and millions of customers worldwide, they have to explain properly to its customers how they handle personal data, especially if the customer asks about this, and that was not in order. So on several points, Netflix did not provide enough, for example, when it comes to the purposes of processing, the legal basis, which personal data was shared with third parties, and why that was done. Also, the retention period was not good enough, and how Netflix ensures that personal data remains safe when transmitting them to countries outside of Europe. Also there, Netflix was not sufficiently transparent. The DPA has not investigated the actual data transfers. This was only about the transparency, which was not good enough, and they have imposed a fine of 4.75 million euros on Netflix. It's serious money. It's one of the higher fines that the Dutch have imposed, and Netflix is in the process of objecting against the fine. Surprise, surprise.
Now, didn't I read somewhere, I forget which DPA it was, that regardless of the amount, maybe it's all of them, the amount of fines they've imposed, they've only actually collected an incredibly small percentage of them?
You read that from Ireland, and I think they have collected about 19% out of the fines imposed, but that's also because a lot of those fines are under appeal.
That's true too.
As long as the fines are not final, then of course they will also not be paid. But speaking about Ireland, also there we have a new fine, a new Meta fine, 251 million.
What did they not do this time?
This is an own volition inquiry, actually multiple own volition inquiries by the DPC following a personal data breach reported by Meta in September 2018. This is a data breach that impacted around 29 million Facebook accounts, of which approximately 3 million based in the European Economic Area. with a lot of personal details from the profiles of those users involved. The breach was remedied immediately by Meta upon discovery, but still there were multiple decisions. So Meta did not include in its breach notification all the information that was required that it could and should have included. So they fell short in their notification obligation.
Shocked.
Also, the remedies that they had created to end the data breach were insufficiently described to the Data Protection Authority.
I'm more shocked.
They did not ensure that data protection principles were protected in the design of processing systems, allowing for the breach in the first place. And also by failing in their obligations as data controller to ensure that by default, only necessary personal data is processed, there were shortcomings. So too much data for insufficient clear purposes, a breach of the privacy principles, and a dodgy notification of a data breach. All in all, 251 million euro. And that's my word, not the word of the Irish DPC.
Here's a couple of takeaway lessons from this one. One, don't be Meta. Two,
don't hold your breath. DPA investigations that start in 2018 can easily take 6 years.
Right. Well, and that's where I was going with it, is make sure you keep meticulous records when something does happen. Because even here in the U.S., under authorities like the FTC or HIPAA or something like that, which I know HIPAA's not an authority, it's the OCR regardless, whatever. They can take years to do an investigation. And so if you don't keep really good records, you're not going to have really good answers. The other thing is, don't dodge the answers. Answer the questions and don't do the legal answer. Don't do they asked me a yes or no question. They're getting yes. Give them the answer. The more information you give them to show them that you're trying to do the right thing, your intentions were in the right place, which that might be exactly why they didn't give the information, the more the Data Protection Authority or the regulator in question is going to say, hey, they're trying to do the right thing. Let's work with them rather than just punishing them. And it really does work. I know privacy is a different area of law when you try to be friends with regulators, my co-host, rather than trying to throw up a brick wall and stop them from finding out the information that they need to do a proper investigation, the better the entire procedure is going to go for you. It's a helping profession. Very rarely are the regulators out for blood just because they don't like you as a company.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. What also happened is that the European Data Protection Board held its meeting on the 3rd of December. I believe this was the 100th plenary meeting. Yes. So I guess they had a bit of a celebration themselves, at least. And they have also released quite a few documents that I still have to read, but hopefully during the Christmas break, there is a bit of time to actually get to some reading as well.
Christmas.
But one of the good things is that they also approved an EU data protection seal.
Yes.
So this is the brand compliance certification, which will actually help in a business to consumer context. So we have the codes of conduct, we have the seals or certifications. The codes of conduct help in the business to business context to demonstrate that an organization is meeting its requirements under data protection law, whereas the seals or certification can show that in the public face, business to consumer. And we've had a few of both of them. And you see now that it's growing. There is another one. And I do believe that will actually help.
It
also
should.
to give more confidence.
Before. Yeah. As we've talked about before, people just don't know how to read, understand, find the information, put it in context of everything that needs to happen. And seals and codes of conduct where objective third parties are the ones that have reviewed your standards, your conduct, and put some objective scrutiny on this really helps people to better understand what it is that you do. So I very much support those, very much so.
And another thing to look at, again, I have not had the time. This is the final rush before Christmas.
Right.
Every lawyer knows what that rush looks like.
In the next 12 days.
Exactly. So, well, the next 3 days because my year ends on December 23rd.
There you go.
So
Mine down.
I'm European. So I end on December
American.
23rd, and that's already
I'll still be
late.
working.
But the EDPB has also adopted an opinion on the interplay between AI and GDPR and responsible deployment of AI models.
Yes.
So that's certainly an opinion that I look forward to reading.
Yes. I have that one on my reading list for under my Christmas tree as well, which, by the way, I've been bah humbug this year, considering I still have 2 big holes in my roof. I bought a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and I think that's the only thing I've put up so far. But we'll be holding Christmas over at my daughter's house, so there we go.
Is it too soon to make a joke that you could have a really big Christmas tree through the roof?
All the way through the roof? I might do it. You never know. You never know. Okay, let's see what else we had. I had something very low tech in Germany, something about train tickets. Germany made a decision about train tickets that you can purchase them without providing personal contact information. And it prioritizes privacy and inclusivity for millions of travelers. There was a couple of others on.
Well, I think that's actually an interesting one, because back in the day when I was younger and traveled a lot by train, you could just walk up to the machine, get a ticket, pay with cash, and then board a train. Nowadays, it's either using a public transport chip card or your credit card, or you buy your ticket online, which indeed requires that you provide all kinds of personal data. Just the ticket machines hardly exist anymore, and to the extent that they exist, they are more expensive than buying your ticket elsewhere. And there is no more counter where you can go and get a ticket, at least not in the Netherlands. I think there are five counters left all over the country. So that's not a really useful solution either.
They thought technology would make it easier, but there's always there's always a trade-off, right?
It absolutely does. Technology does make it easier. And if you look at the chip card system that we have, it actually works pretty well. It's comparable to the Oyster card in London or the Navigo in Paris. We have that for the full country. So for all public transport, which is already quite complex to accomplish with all the providers that are included there. But it does raise data protection issues. There is an anonymous card available if you want to. But then as the disadvantage there is that you cannot use any kind of subscriptions. So if you want to have your discount card, you need a personalized card because the discount is in your name. So you cannot just use it on an anonymous card that you can give to somebody else. So
kind of like bearer bonds. Whoever holds it, it's the money.
Yeah, so that works for the anonymous card. That's like the bearer bond. But if you want your discount for whatever reason, then they need your data.
Of course, everyone needs our data. Why wouldn't anyone need our data? But that brings us to a few other stories. LinkedIn paused its AI training, its AI data training in Canada. This was a lot that we all noticed on LinkedIn that happened a couple of months ago. So Canada has paused. Canada's privacy commissioner welcomed LinkedIn's voluntary decision to halt the use of Canadian members' personal data for AI training. Yay.
Very voluntary, following a phone call from the commissioner saying, are you really sure you want to do this?
So, but also then let's go back to the U.S. Senate. We haven't talked about it yet, but this one's going to lead into a better one. So they're proposing a bill out of the Senate to ban data brokers from selling sensitive health and location information. So this is good. We've seen health and location information very much coming up.
Why would you even need a bill for that?
Right. Hey, it's America. But reminds us of COSA. So there have been some COSA developments as well. And I think you've been following
the Kids
those
Online
pieces.
Safety Act.
Yes.
Well, I've been following the debate, and it seems that it's going nowhere. I think that's the main conclusion.
None of us really expected it to go anywhere the way it is, right?
No, probably not. And well, that's by now very clear that it is not going to go anywhere, that it won't happen.
Right.
So
without major changes, I would love to see some major changes in it and it actually do something. I'm not going to hold my breath.
No, I guess you shouldn't. Also, when
I can't hold it for long anymore anyway. So
no, and also when it comes to CSAM, it seems that the legislation is stuck there is no majority in the Council of Ministers of the European Union to support the current draft that is on the table. So also that is not moving forward at this time. And it is likely that the new commission that has taken office on December 1st, that they will actually come up with, will need to come up with a new proposal next year to see whether they can get an alternative approach to COSA, to CSAM through Parliament and with support of the member states.
Right. Anything else fascinating happening around anybody looking to take the AIGP, which I was looking to take? They are changing the test. The new test will roll out in February. There's some wonderful summarizations of why they're doing this and what kind of things you can expect on the new test. I am debating with myself if I want to hurry up and do it in the next week or so, or if, you know what, maybe not. Maybe not. I was excited about it to begin with, and then I'm like, but there's so much in AI. And this certification can only cover so much.
Yeah, I've been speaking to quite a few people who've been preparing for the exam, and also they were mentioning that the reading materials are so A-specific. There is so much reading material of hundreds and hundreds of pages. Not
which you
all
don't
of
really
which
think
will
I'd go
be,
read that, right?
Not everything will be relevant. So
right.
I think it's laudable that they've started with this, but at the same time, maybe some more focus is actually required to make it into a better training. And not to fully tout our own horn, but Maastricht University, we last week had our first AI course as well, because as you know, we have all the business courses next to the master's program and the diploma track that we have. We have a lot of 1 week and 2 week business courses. So also we have, by popular demand, introduced an AI course.
Arizona State University introduced an AI course. I think it was either 2 or 3 years ago, a semester-long course.
Yeah, no, that's really part of the regular curriculum if it's a semester long. Yeah. And ours is just 1 week full time for people who are working. So you can join. I think the next edition will be in June of 2025. And it was actually a lot of fun to be able to talk a bit about AI in that course. My focus was only on oversight and the role of privacy teams in under the AI Act.
Well, they did announce for IAPP Global Summit that they were going to have a full day dedicated for AI for lawyers. And it doesn't have to be just lawyers there, but the whole day. But that sounded really fascinating to me. I know it's an additional charge. I'm not speaking at IAPP this year, so I have to pay for the conference anyway. Nothing's ever cheap anymore.
Nope.
So I'll have to look and see, but that really did sound fascinating to me as well. But the one certification I've been thinking about getting for years and I have made absolutely zero effort towards doing it is the one for Asia. Asia privacy laws are growing and changing and expanding and becoming a bigger issue that we need to deal with in our daily business. So Asia is one that I've thought of as taking as well. And then to go back to a specific point on the AIGP is y'all do know that when you take the AIPP training for a certification, that it teaches you about the topic, not the test. So you can take an AIPP training for the AIGP or the CIPPE or the CIPPA or the CIPP whatever. It's going to teach you about privacy in AI. It's going to teach you about privacy in Europe. It is not going to teach you the questions that are on the test and how you should answer them. So for those of you that are lawyers, think back to law school. It taught you how to think like a lawyer. It gave you the fundamentals in those areas. It did not teach you how to answer the test. Barbary did, but we don't have that for certification tests yet. So just keep your mind in that as well. Make sure you pay attention to the body of knowledge, practice exams that come out. And then as I hear from a lot of people, pay attention to current events and what's actually happening that can help put some of these concepts into perspective for you.
And it's a lot that's happening. So on that note, we'll wrap up another episode of Serious Privacy. This is the last episode before Christmas. This is not the last episode of the year. There is one more to come, our traditional look back episode. So you should get that still this side of
the end of the year.
Yeah, if all goes well, then that should happen. If you like the podcast, join the conversation on LinkedIn. You'll find us under Serious Privacy. You'll find us on Blue Sky as well as seriousprivacy.eu, myself as Europol B, Kay as Heart of Privacy, Ralph at IGR O'Brien. You'll find us. You know where to find us. Join the conversation.
Let your podcast apps to just automatically download it. Tell all your friends and family just automatically download it.
Yeah,
You'll like it.
When they leave their phone, just take their phone, subscribe them to the podcast.
There we go. People shouldn't be leaving their phones unlocked anyway, right?
Exactly. And then they get at least some added value for nice privacy podcasts. So until next week, goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
That was Serious Privacy.
If you're a data protection or privacy professional, you already know the pressure. Non-stop regulatory change, AI oversight, internal demands, and the expectation to somehow stay ahead of it all. And the old patchwork of tools just isn't cutting it anymore.
No. That's why TrustArc created a modern privacy management platform powered by Arc Intelligence. The TrustArc platform brings your workflows, evidence, research, tasks, and applications all together in one unified and intelligent workspace so you don't waste time digging, clicking, or context switching.
With Ask Arc, your privacy assistant, you can ask plain language questions about laws, jurisdictions, or even your own program data, and get credible, cited answers based on NIMBY research and more than 1,000 global laws. It's explainable, transparent, and purpose-built for data protection and privacy.
So if you need to add a vendor, create a cookie banner, or start an assessment, quick actions take formally complex tasks, turn them into bite-sized guided workflows to save you time.
It's a platform that thinks like you, works like you, and helps you move faster with confidence, whether you're a seasoned DPO or you're just getting started.
See how modern privacy gets done. Explore Arc at trustarc.com/serious-privacy. That's trustarc.com/serious-privacy.